What if tomorrow a simple piece of text could reveal which artificial intelligence generated it, even after being copied and pasted?
That's exactly what Anthropic is preparing with Claude, embedding an invisible marker directly into certain generated texts that can remain detectable even after some modifications.
Welcome to the fourth episode of AI News, David Akpovi's podcast, and your weekly destination for the most important developments in artificial intelligence. And we're actually celebrating a milestone today. This is the first full month of the
Yeah,
podcast.
1 month already.
Right. So we just wanted to take a quick second to warmly thank you for your growing support. More and more of you are tuning in every week, and, we really appreciate you joining us for these deep dives.
It's been great, and we have a very packed lineup to get through today.
We really do. Just to give you a quick preview, we'll be looking into Twitch's new default data settings, Google's rather paradoxical goal to actually reduce screen time with the Pixel 11, and Spotify's new rules for AI-generated artists. The mission today is really to figure out where that line is being drawn right now between human control and autonomous AI.
Exactly, pulling from, this week's announcements in corporate data.
So let's just jump right into that first story with Anthropic. Like we mentioned, they're rolling out this invisible watermarking system for text generated by Claude models.
Yeah, and the key fact here is that this marker is embedded directly at the model level.
Right.
Anthropic says it's, completely imperceptible, doesn't alter the meaning or the readability at all.
And crucially, it apparently remains even if you copy-paste the text or make some minor edits. But I have a technical question right out of the gate. If I take a Claude-generated text and paste it into, a plain text document, how does a watermark survive?
A great question.
Because there's no hidden metadata in plain text.
Right. There are no pixels or hidden code to stash it in. What it actually does is alter the statistical probabilities of the word choices the model makes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so when an AI generates text, it's basically just predicting the next logical token, or word. The watermarking system forces the model to choose slightly less predictable words at mathematically calculated intervals.
Okay, so the signature is literally baked into the vocabulary itself.
Exactly. It weaves a cryptographic pattern directly into the words.
That makes sense. But if someone, say, significantly rewrites the output or translates it into a totally different language, that would scramble those specific words, right? Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose for bad actors and just make this useful for honest mistakes?
I mean, yes, that is a no limitation. It's not totally foolproof against really heavy intentional manipulation, but you have to look at the context here. Most of the European Union AI Act provisions just became applicable on August 2, 2026.
Right, the new transparency rules.
Exactly. Based on risk levels.
Yeah.
Anthropic is building these third-party detection tools because the whole industry is shifting. Traceability has to start at creation now, rather than just doing unreliable post-publication analysis.
So it's moving from, is this AI, to which AI specifically made this?
Exactly.
Well, while we're learning how to trace the output these models create, there's obviously a huge debate about the input, the data they consume to learn in the first place. Which brings us to Twitch.
Right. Twitch just updated their privacy settings. By default, Amazon can now use channel content to train its generative AI models.
And that includes streams, clips, images, and, conversations in the chat.
Yeah, all of it. And since it's enabled by default, creators have to actively go into their settings and opt out if they don't want their content used.
Why is Twitch data so valuable right now, though?
Well, think about it. Twitch is this massive source of multimodal data. It's continuous video, voice intonation, and totally spontaneous text conversations in the chat, all synced up. It teaches AI how humans actually interact in real time.
Which is exactly what you need for the newest multimodal systems.
Right. But it is worth mentioning, opting out only applies to generative AI. They can still use the data for other machine learning stuff, like moderation or content recommendations.
But this brings up a massive issue with viewer consent. I mean, if you're just a viewer and you post a message in the chat, your data gets included based entirely on the channel owner's settings. How can consent possibly work when you have hundreds of people contributing to one stream?
That is the defining question right now. Platform content is a highly strategic training resource. Live streams are collaborative by nature, so the industry is struggling to figure out who actually has the authority to grant multi-party consent.
Yeah, that's incredibly messy. And speaking of massive data ingestion, it's also actively changing consumer hardware. Google just introduced the Pixel 11 lineup.
Yeah, powered by their new Tensor G6 chip.
Right, which runs Gemini intelligence on the device. But the stated goal is kind of paradoxical. They're actually trying to help users spend less time looking at their screens.
Which sounds counterintuitive for a phone maker. But it makes sense when you look at the highlight feature on the Pro and Pro XL. It's this LED system on the back of the phone.
So when the phone is face down, it lights up.
Exactly. It can signal an incoming call from a favorite contact or show Gemini status like if it's listening, thinking, or preparing a response, all without you having to pick up the phone and unlock the screen.
But wait, is a smartphone really smart if the manufacturer is actively trying to stop you from interacting with its screen? Or is this just a way to ensure AI runs constantly in the background of our lives?
Well, it's a total redefinition of consumer tech. For years, phones were built to capture your attention. Now, they're measuring value by what the phone can accomplish without demanding your focus.
So AI working autonomously in the background,
Right.
which connects to how AI is generating entirely artificial identities in our entertainment. Starting in mid-September, Spotify is rolling out new rules for profiles that are totally AI generated.
Yeah, they'll get an AI persona, or likely AI persona label, if they don't represent a real human.
And users can report suspicious profiles, right?
They can, but Spotify makes the final call. The big operational shift is that these AI personas will be excluded by default from Spotify's editorial and algorithmic recommendations.
Wow, okay, so they can still release music, and you can search for them, but the algorithm won't push them to listeners.
Exactly.
But just to clarify, a human using AI tools to make music is perfectly fine, but a fully artificial identity loses discoverability. How do platforms accurately police that line without hurting real human artists who just use a lot of tech?
It's going to require very precise policy enforcement. The focus is strictly on the identity presented to the public, not the production methods. But it shows that being available on a platform and being discoverable are becoming two completely different things.
Right, a two-tiered system based on identity. And Spotify controlling discoverability like that really mirrors a much bigger economic battle happening on the web, the fight for traffic between content creators and search engines.
Yeah, especially in France right now. The Alliance de la Presse d'Information Générale, which represents about 300 French news outlets, just filed a complaint with the French Competition Authority against Google's AI overviews.
Those are the Gemini-powered summaries that launched in France on July 22, right? The ones that sit at the very top of the search results.
Right, above all the traditional links. And publishers are extremely angry about the uncompensated use of their content. A Chartbeat study cited by Le Monde looked at 2,500 news sites and found an average 33% drop in visits from Google between November 2024 and November 2025.
A 33% drop is huge. Now, Google argues that the users who do click through after reading the summary are higher quality visitors. But if the AI just gives the answers and publishers lose the clicks that fund their journalism, who is going to report the news that the AI actually relies on?
That's the structural risk. Google is fundamentally shifting from being a bridge that connects users to websites into the final destination itself.
Yeah, they just absorb the data and keep the user. And because this web data is so financially valuable, the AI companies themselves have massive geopolitical value. National governments are actually stepping in now.
We saw this clearly with Meta. They had to abandon their $2 billion acquisition of Manus, which is an AI agent startup.
Right, and Manus had actually moved its headquarters from China to Singapore, but China's National Development and Reform Commission still ordered the deal to be abandoned in late April.
Yeah, so Manus gets its independence back, and they have to delete any user data created while they were integrated with Meta. It totally halts Meta's push into open models.
But the strategic implication there is wild. Relocating their headquarters didn't protect the company from Beijing at all. Does the origin of the founders and the intellectual property just permanently tie an AI startup to its home country?
It really seems that way. AI agents are basically being treated like semiconductors now. They're strategic assets deeply shaped by global power dynamics, regardless of where the corporate HQ is registered today.
And governments want control over these agents because they are the key to enterprise productivity. Looking at the data, 86.4% of Japanese companies use generative AI for at least one task.
Which is high, but they actually trail behind China at 98.1%, Germany at 91.6%, and the United States at 90.9%.
Right. And a Reuters survey showed that about 60% of those Japanese companies only use it in limited departments. Only 16% have fully integrated it. Although no company surveyed plans to reduce their AI budget over the next 2 years.
The money is definitely still flowing.
But it's one thing to use a chatbot occasionally to write an email and another to transform a business. What does a fully integrated organization-wide AI operation actually look like in practice?
The global race is shifting from just basic adoption rates to the depth of that integration. Deep integration means AI connects directly via APIs into internal databases and workflows, rather than just being a separate tool in a browser tab.
Now we can see exactly what that deep integration looks like in the aviation sector. Ryanair just signed a 5-year partnership with Google Cloud, rolling out AI tech to 35,000 employees.
Yet to support their goal of 300 million passengers by 2034. They're using Gemini Enterprise to create AI agents that will actually automate decisions and improve crew scheduling.
And they're using Google DeepMind models too, right?
Right, AlphaVolve and WeatherNext, specifically to support fleet and maintenance planning, though they are still using Amazon Web Services to maintain dual cloud resilience.
But entrusting crew scheduling and aircraft maintenance planning to algorithms, how far are airlines willing to let AI intervene in critical operational decisions? That sounds incredibly risky.
It's a massive shift. AI is moving from customer service chatbots directly into the day-to-day core operations of heavy industry. They're trusting these agents with highly regulated logistics.
And this autonomous AI isn't just for huge enterprises. It's scaling down to act as digital colleagues for individuals too, like xAI launching Grok Bot in early beta.
Yeah, these are essentially AI teammates, and the key difference is they have their own cloud computers.
So they can sign into your tools, navigate the interfaces, and execute multi-step tasks, like lead research or managing invoices.
Exactly, and because they run in the cloud, they keep working, even when your physical computer is turned off.
Wait, and multiple bots can collaborate, right?
Yes, they communicate with each other, hand off work, and one bot can even act as a coordinator for the others.
But we are moving from asking AI questions to delegating actual labor. If multiple bots are just collaborating on their own in the cloud, who is overseeing the final output before it impacts a business?
That's the structural change. AI is shifting from a content creator to a true digital executor operating directly inside our software. The responsibility falls heavily on the user to set a proper oversight.
And to wrap up the news segment, this persistent autonomous AI is also coming directly to our web browsers. Anthropic updated Claude in Chrome, so sessions started in the browser side panel are now saved to your account.
Meaning you can resume them seamlessly on desktop apps, the web, or mobile.
And its skills work directly in the browser, but Anthropic did warn about security risks here, right?
Yeah, because web agents have such deep access, they can be tricked by malicious instructions hidden on web pages. It's called a prompt injection attack.
Just to clarify, how does a website trick an AI? Are we talking about text hidden in the background that I can't see, but the AI reads it and gets a command to, like, steal my data?
Precisely. It might be hidden in the code or colored to match the background. You don't see it, but the AI, which is reading the whole page to help you, sees it and potentially executes the malicious instruction. Anthropic built protections against this, but the vulnerability is just inherent to deep browser integration.
I mean, if an AI assistant follows you everywhere and has deep access to all your digital tools, doesn't a single malicious web page put your entire persistent workflow at risk?
It absolutely expands the attack surface. AI assistants are breaking free from individual apps and becoming a continuous presence across our entire digital environment.
We've covered a lot of ground today. To quickly summarize, the major trends clearly show AI shifting from a reactive tool to a continuous, traceable agent. We're seeing deep enterprise integration and a very real geopolitical scramble to control these technologies. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. If our hardware is actively trying to stop us from looking at screens, and our AI agents are talking directly to other AI agents in the cloud to do our work, we might be rapidly approaching an era where the internet is primarily machines talking to machines. What happens to our digital culture when the web is no longer built primarily for human eyes?
It's a fascinating question.
What do you think about this week's AI news? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.
Thank you for listening to the 4th episode of AI News, the David Ekbovy podcast. We hope you'll join us again next week for another edition. See you soon.